Are you serious? Are you serious? Guys, let me just tell you something. We know this Ukrainian situation with the Russians and the Americans are very, very intense situation. And I'm looking at it from every perspective. What is the motivations of America to see a potential chaotic Europe? Well, there should be no advantage. There should be no incentive for America to see a chaotic Europe. But we're not talking about America. We're asking ourselves, what is the foreign policy of the Obama administration? And then the other question is, what is the advantage for Russia if Russia was to have a chaotic European Union and to have full control of Ukraine and the pipeline? Well, there is a lot of advantage for Russia on that. But that doesn't mean that is the motivation. Now, there is an article in the Mail Online written by Edward Lucas that I think he asks us a question and says, could this be the beginning of the World War III? And when history looks back, if time lasts, folks, will this be when it began? Did it start really in the wastelands and the outback areas of Ukraine? Well, he says, I hope I'm wrong, but historians may look back and say this was the start of World War III. He said, deep in the flat and the featureless landscape of eastern Ukraine, it is all too possible that the outline of World War III is taking shape, whipped up by the Kremlin's propaganda machine, and now this is his opinion, and led by Russian military intelligence. Armed men are erecting roadblocks, storming police stations, and ripping down the country's flags. They are demonstrating not just their own country, bankrupt, ill-run, and beleaguered Russians, but also this post-war order that has kept most of Europe and the United States and the British safe and free from decades. Vladimir Putin seems to be striking at the heart of the West. His target is our inability to work with allies in defense against common threats. The profoundly depressing fact is that the events of the past few months, as Russia has annexed the Crimea Peninsula and suppressed opposition in Ukraine, have shown that the West is divided, the West is humiliated, and the West is powerless in its face of these land grabs. We will soon going to face the bleak choice. We have to choose either to surrender the Ukraine, and we surrender our responsibility that we have to protect the Ukraine and the Baltic states. Almost certainly Putin's next target from further Russian incursions, or we can mount a last-ditch effort to try to attempt to deter the Russian imperialistic ambitions, but I believe it's too late. Now, his point is this: the decision's already been made. The West has turned its back on Ukraine. The West is going to let Ukraine end the way it's going to end. There's no plan B. There is no plan B. There's no plan B. Russia has got Crimea. Russia will take Ukraine. They're going to try to make it look like they had to because of the chaos. Somebody's helping fuel that chaos. Either the Americans are supporting it, just like the Americans did the Arab Spring, or the Russians are doing it themselves by paying these pro-Russian groups to rise up because of but I know this, the Ukrainian people, many of them know their government's corrupt, so they're not willing to fight for their nation, so it will fall. The Americans and the West have already decided they're not going to get involved. They're broke, busted, and disgusted, and the alliances that they thought they had formed that were strong seemingly are defenseless. And so we're seeing the beginning of the unraveling